Good morning, Alice. How are you?
Good morning, Tim. I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm happy it's Friday. Whee! Happy Friday.
It's
And it's also
Friday.
it's the end of the month. It's the end of the month. And obviously
Oh,
you're kind of joining me for the Friday Ascension update, but we're coming together on the 12th, aren't we? We've got an event coming up very soon.
yes. Yes, we have. And I'm super excited about this one. I mean, I'm excited about all of the events that we do. But this one I feel is just really, really special. We are opening, and we invite everyone here watching this, by the way, we are opening the Christ portal on the 12/12, and then on the 21st of the first, we'll be closing it again. So it feels like this is a very, very sacred, very golden and seraphim imbued container that we're about to open here. Are you excited, Tim?
I am. I think considering the way that this year has felt and been interpreted by everybody who's serving on the light path, the last month of this year can only be spectacular. We've had Pluto move into Capricorn, from Capricorn into Aquarius. It's
Mhm.
technically we're now standing in the dawn of the golden era. But we're getting very mixed messages from the world around us. We're like
Mm,
our hearts are glowing, we are moving forwards, we're excited, we can feel the energies, we can see the tangible change that's occurring in the world around us.
mhm,
But on the other side of it, the what we would regard as the matrix is now pulling out every single trick that it can possibly bring forwards in order to trigger that fear survival mechanism that we have all experienced at some point and another, not just in this lifetime, but many, many lifetimes going all the way back to the fall of Atlantis. It's like reliving the end of days, but with
mm.
something extremely exciting to move from where we are into, which is why I believe that December's going to be so much, so not so much fun, but just a very, very enlightening end to what has been a fast moving year.
Yeah, it's been a very fast year. But as you say that, I'm just thinking, I'm like, but how amazing is it though if we're seeing um, all these interesting challenges come up and all these very interesting scenarios play out in the very real matrix world, holographic world that we're in. I'm like, how incredible is that though? Because unless there is something to identify, to put a spotlight on the fear that is in your body, your subconscious layers, how on earth are we actually going to find it, to ascend it, to evolve it, to awaken it, to clear it? Right. So like sometimes when I get asked that, I'm going, but isn't this exciting though? Because you get to
Yeah.
see yourself on all these different levels and then integrate yourself.
Yeah.
And isn't that what you talk about when you talk about the light quotient rising?
It's a com it's I mean that's exactly what happens though, Alice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You call we are all enthusiastically calling this life in. We're calling for change. We're calling for higher experiences to be part of our reality. And then we get faced with the shadow work, the
Yeah.
clearance, things that we need to look at in order to move through the ascension process. And there is absolutely no doubt in my mind whatsoever that everything that's occurring in the kind of the matrix construct as you describe it, that is all serving to just wake so many people up. There's so many light bulbs going on saying, I can no longer live at that frequency,
Mm,
experiencing those things. I personally need to make a change. And when you get a collective field of people feeling and thinking and acting upon these experiences, that's when new waves of people begin to wake up. So we're seeing a real belt of that occurring at the moment.
oh, I think it's so beautiful.
I do. I do.
It's
It,
so
it,
beautiful.
it couldn't be more appropriate to finish off the year that we've had. And there's so many experiences that I've personally had, that you've had, that everybody else has had, all in the space of 11 months that I literally I would have to journal from the beginning of January onwards to recall I'll suddenly think about, oh, May, oh my God, that happened in May, and all of a sudden there's all of these things that have just gone, just repeated again and again, and it's happened so much that the year has just literally
Mm,
flipped by in the blink of an eye. But
yeah.
so much has gone on in that space.
Mm. No, it has. It's really moving to kind of reflect on, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah, it
yeah,
is.
no, it's. I wonder. I always kind of I smile to myself a little bit because I always have obviously my guides with me as we all do. We all have our team of light with us, and it's one of those where you can never really quite be alone when you've got massive presence right here and here all around you.
Yeah,
And I just wonder, I'm like, how are you guys experiencing it? They've always got this most big beaming smile, and I'm going, I wonder what the crystals are recording. Like, do you have a crystal
yeah.
recording the whole year?
What's their version
What
of
happened back in
reality?
April? What happened in June?
Well, they all do. This is the thing. We'll be able to look back on this period of time and
Mm,
view it in the archives,
yeah,
recorded into the halls of Amenti as everything
yeah.
is now,
Mm-hmm.
and say, wow, look how much I grew in that period of time, that expansiveness.
Mm. It definitely
So
has been very rich, hasn't it? Rich
yeah,
of experience. And,
yeah,
in the past few years, I find it so interesting how kind of things are coming up. It's like there is much more speed of
yeah,
execution, right? Much more speed of like impact. Whereas like, 2020, 2021, it was like very slow moving, a lot happening, but it's kind of like this, it was like percolating and drip, 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 drip kind of experiences. And now it feels to me that this year's just been very, okay, here's your experience. Okay, there's it gone. Here's another one. There it goes. you know. Okay, check,
the
check, check.
timeline is racing. It's literally racing. So I love this. I love the concept that has come through to you about the opening of the Christ Jupiter portal on the 12th of the
Yes.
12th. I mean, it is
Mm,
the energies that it sometimes it's really good to just reflect on the level or kind of almost the gravity of what we're receiving and what we're privy to now. I mean,
mm,
10 years ago, we wouldn't have even been able to connect to these energies, let
mm.
alone actually begin to embody them and use them as part of our reality. The opening this doorway on the 12th I mean, the 12th of the 12th is it's a big portal day anyway, isn't it? It's an absolute
Mhm.
cracker. And the same, the things start to really warm up in the last 3 months of the year, don't they? You've got the 10-10, the 11-11, and the 12-12, and they seem
Mm,
to be the big ones that
yeah.
kind of prepare us for like the last part, the great fanfare as one
Mm.
year merges into another. Whether you regard the calendar as appropriate or at the end of the day, collective intention forms reality. So everybody is focusing on the 12-12 to be something special. So therefore it is. And what
Mm.
could be more special than the opening of a extremely funky portal that's going to be providing light, universal energies, and cosmic change and
Mm.
upgrades, and
And what
you
I
know,
love about, mm, yeah, and it's so nice because for me, 12-12 was always like, if I could hear it, it's always like singing. And you said fanfare a moment ago. I'm like, that's literally what 12-12 sounds like for me every year that it comes up. It like literally is like the seraphim and the cherubim, and they're all there with these like massive like trumpets and just the music of the spheres playing. That's how I feel that date reverberate through my body. And it's almost like the most incredible iridescent rainbow light that has just got this beautiful golden hue. That's how I see it and feel it and experience it. And I didn't tell you this actually yesterday.
yeah,
I was I was going on a little journey, non-physically, a non-physical journey, and I went up to Jupiter because obviously we're going to be activating the Jupiter solar body, and I'm like, okay, well, I better go get these key codes and actually
yeah.
go through this initiation
Go and
that
grab
we're
them and come back with them.
go grab them, bring them back, and go experience that which we're going to offer and bring through on the 12th. And this is where it gets really challenging now to actually articulate. But the incredible, ineffable, divine expansion that felt so grounded and wholesome yet also so releasing and just completing of this past year. It was the most beautiful experience. I literally could have been levitating like in my seat at that point in time.
Probably were.
And like, do I have any cameras watching? Did I
Yeah.
levitate? But it's so beautiful because part of what we're doing as well is we're almost paying respect to everything that we have moved through this past year and when we do our workshop on the 12th. And we're going to be really helping just kind of tie up those loose ends and just really release anything that is just still a little bit remnant in the body. And energetically, gosh, I wish I could really describe it here, but the colors and the beauty, it was just indescribable just to feel the support on every layer, not even just on like a chakra level, but just like every cell felt like it had this cushion, this this beautiful elevation. And when we go through an initiation like that, and it's one focused on anchoring in and embodying it, because that's the thing, right,
Mm.
about being on Earth is we have to embody. It's a physical experience.
It is.
Be here in your body,
Yeah.
you know. And it's incredible because I'm so excited because the magnetism like of the day, like just in the moment I got back, the magnetism and the fluidity
Mm.
and the expansive kind of doors that were just energetically open. I was like, it felt like I could literally just pull back through the veil, just go, I'm just going to go, I'm going to bring this back into this reality. Let's bring that back into this reality. And oh gosh, I'm just like, kind of rambling a little bit, but that's what it feels like. This portal can offer us if we allow ourselves to relax enough into it, you know?
That's exactly the trick. And with your ramble came some very pertinent information, Alice. You know, it's so important to remember that I think that this is a good point this morning that we are firstly we are not alone.
Mm,
And this is a point that Kate has come up repeatedly recently. A lot of us are feeling kind of maybe overworked,
mm,
like we've had initiation after initiation this year. We may be feeling a little bit abandoned by the
mm,
higher realms. But then when you look at who is by your side energetically and etherically,
mm,
and literally pushing us through these portals,
mm,
the in this into this state of expansiveness. Yes, it's tough to do what we do. There's no two ways about it. I think anybody who's saying that they're just having a breezy, easy time on the ascension pathway, there'll be 1,000 people out there will going saying, "Well, I've had to really work for this." You know,
mm,
it's there's no sugary pills, there's no cutting corners. You have to do the work,
mm,
but we're not alone. And that kind of initiation that we go through many times on the ascension pathway where we feel like we have been abandoned, we're in that room that's dark and you can see everybody looking in on you on the outside watching how you respond to your initiation. Now they're making themselves known and present. They're saying, we are here, it's time to act, it's time to step through, it's time to walk forwards, let's go. But the work needs to be done, which is
mm,
why it's been the year that it has been.
mm.
And just to go to have the opportunity to go as you did, to float up, to retrieve coding, to
So
bring it.
my daily life.
Yeah. Well, this is it.
Like, where am I up to now? What am I doing now?
And then analyzing it and interpreting it and bringing it
Mm,
through and making it something that we can all understand and work with.
mm.
That's such a privilege to be here on this planet doing that at this time. It really is. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's very humbling. And I wonder if any of you beautiful souls watching this feel that way. But every day I wake up and I'm so humbled by the just by the enormity of what it is to have this physical form here, to
Yeah,
actually be here. And you know, as challenging as it is and all the things that we've gone through, you know, it's all things that we've created in order to accelerate our growth as well, and why we actually came here as a aspect of source energy, right?
absolutely.
And I wonder, can I ask you, Tim? I don't know how you found this year, but one of the things that really was like obvious to me recently, like an awareness that I just had, was this year has felt like every, or for me, so maybe it's just me, but every experience that I've had over the past, well, adult life, really. Everything where I've created a backlash of karma, it was almost like I had the opportunity to relive each one of those experiences. You know, like when we're not aware, when we're more unconscious, when we're, you know, in our very human or reptilian self versus the
Mm.
heart space. It's been really funny because like I've really noticed that it's kind of like those experiences have come around in a very quick and easy way, but put me in a different role. And it's almost like, wow, this is literally like here is the karma that you created, the energetic repercussion that you created 13 years ago. You're now in the position that the other person was in. Are you going to see it with compassion, understanding, and grace, or are you going to react and respond? And it's almost like I had a catalog of things
Yeah,
to go through this year,
yeah.
and I think it was a very saving grace to have that recognition.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, and I'm just like, I think this is what's paving the way though for the next few years, and what's been paving the way for kind of like how held that we're really going to feel, and how supported and how safe we're really allowing ourselves, if we welcome the opportunity, to feel in the body on earth through this process with one another, with everything that's happening, with all the stage show. How safe are we going to allow ourselves to feel? Well, how safe are you going to let other people feel in situations where it's a karmic
So important.
mirroring, you
That's
know?
such an important point because it's about trust.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean we're coming to the end of this year, and you've described perfectly what energetically has been called of us to relive or re-experience or to dot the I's and cross the T's before the energy changes forever,
Yeah.
to allow us to empty that tank, that storage space that we've ignored for so many years, the karmic repercussions. I mean, there's karma in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Every thought that we think, every word that we speak, every action that we take, there is cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
So of course we're going to be reliving through things that we have done incorrectly in the past, lessons that we've taken that were we had the free will to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever we felt was right at the time, and it might not have been the right thing to do. So when you view that from a higher perspective, and you clean the slate and you move through it,
Mm-hmm.
I believe by the end of this year, we've all done so much work that we are
Yeah.
ready to take that step. We're very close to hitting the golden ratio, the 50-50, where there's half the people on this planet who've accepted the embodiment of their higher self and are ready to start the work. They might not have acknowledged it on a conscious level, but the blueprint or the gold print has been accepted. Their
Yeah.
higher self has communed with their on, and the soul has said, "I am ready." So we're ready to go. We're ready to rock and roll. And this,
Rarin.
yeah, and we're getting so close now to
Mm.
having that. Once you've hit that golden ratio, once you've hit that balance point, it's all systems go, and the
Mm.
world will begin to change. All of the systems that we look at and say that is wrong, the insides of these systems are being changed by the people that are waking up within them,
Yes.
and we're seeing this everywhere. It's not a process that can be reversed. It cannot be stopped. The fire cannot be put out. So here we go, onwards and upwards. And
Mm-hmm.
like you say, it's interesting to revisit these experiences and look at them from a higher perspective. And yes, I've had that
Yeah.
all throughout this year. I am going to do an end of year journal and try
Oh.
and remember, probably by looking at my diary and like, what did I have
Apple calendar.
arranged at that particular time? And that will trigger my memories into what I was actually experiencing through each individual month. It's the only way to do it.
It is. It's fantastic. I actually do that sometimes if something like really big has happened. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll just put that in my calendar.
yeah, yeah. Put that in there, journal it,
Oh gosh.
see what came through, look at it now with a fresh perspective. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this on the 12th, Alice. I think
Oh
when we get our heads together, everything that we bring through is just it's of such a beautiful frequency.
yeah.
So
Yeah. No, it's
we're gonna
stunning.
it's
Mm.
it's gonna be a good night. And so
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock UK time that we
Hmm.
we kick everything off.
Yes,
as it,
indeed.
yeah, and it will be the 12-12 portal, and
Uh-huh.
it will be important work as a prelude for what we are going to experience when we do reach the December solstice. So we'd love to have you along if you are feeling guided to join us. And have you got any kind of last advice for everybody who's
Mm,
tuning in, Alice? What can
yeah.
we expect from the last few days of the month, and what's the best way to navigate it?
Oh, last few days of this month. Well,
Mm,
really beautifully, of course, we are in a dark moon phase, right? So we are going into that new moon in Sagittarius, which, of course, is also ruled by Jupiter. So that ties in perfectly. So for the 1st of December, we're going to be in this very open space to really plant our expansive seeds. But just remember, like this is what my guides always want to bring through whenever we're channeling is, you know, just remember there is nothing that you can't undo, right? Every fraction of a second, every blink of an eye, every breath that you take, you are fluctuating through so many dimensions and planes. The difference about which ones embody is what you are feeling for the majority of time. And just know that you can change that like that. If you're in a particular, feeling a particular way, in a particular funk, in a particular mood, and you don't want to be creating from that point, that's okay. You can change it.
yeah,
Just feel it, breathe it in,
yeah.
because it's all overlapping, it's all right there. And we'll talk more about this on the 12th, but this is about embodying the dimension into the reality, the density that you want, right? And knowing that you really can do, have, and be anything. And if you find yourself in a vibration that isn't what you want to propagate, don't worry, just have grace. Go, oh, that's okay. You needed to feel that way for a moment, but you get to change that.
You
You
do.
get to choose that. Hmm.
You have the power.
Yeah.
You have the.
I
I love that.
love that too.
Thank
Oh,
you
Tim.
so much for joining me this morning, Alice. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, it
Really nice.
always is. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone watching as well.
Yeah,
If you do have comments, let us know because I always go through them. And I love reading them when Tim posts these videos. So
yeah.
thank you
Which
for
will be very
listening.
shortly after recording it.
Ooh, okay.
All right, my
Oh,
lovely. Sending you all lots of love from our hearts to yours, and we will see you on the 12th. Mwah.
bye,
Bye for
Tim.
now.
Bye, everyone.